Good Friday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is the 9th of August and today we'll start with the semiconductor index here illustrated by the iShares Semiconductor ETF. It's also called the SUX. We have strong bounce yesterday, a 7.4% bounce, but key resistance at 218 spot 42 could be a struggle to get back above. We have a nice bounce also here on the RSI values above the falling trend line. I actually closed back above 40, but we're still in a negative sentiment, and there seems to be no divergence. So let's see if it closes back above this resistance here. Well, then there's room up to around 230, but we are in a bearish trend. And if we're looking at excuse me, if we look at the weekly chart, we can see this massive bearish engulfing, taking out several weeks of bullish trading in a massive sell-off. But we have a strong bounce here. So let's see. We're still in a positive sentiment on the RSI despite showing divergence. So maybe we are in for a larger correction. I don't think we will get back to previous all-time highs. Moving back to the Far East and looking at the Nikkei index future here, I did send out an analysis yesterday afternoon on this, where I'm talking more in details about the Nikkei, and that it could be forming a 5-wave downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one will come with the new lows. We don't know that yet, but it could be seen. So that's you often see these 5 waves and corrective ABC waves, and here it seems like it is a 5-wave down, but it's not confirmed yet, but it does look like it. And if I add a lot of more Fibonacci to it, you can see it actually hit a lot of Fibonacci, actually hit a 38.2 retracement of this one. And here we are currently at the 61.8 retracement at just below 36,000, where we tested yesterday, and we also tested it the other day, and it seems to be struggling to get back above and close above. It needs to close above. Then there's room up to the 786 retracement right there. So let's remove this one. There we are. Then it's cleaner. 37,326, but it needs to get back above the peak here at 39,220. For demolishing this bearish picture, but it could push it lower, and if it does, well, then we are looking at levels below 30,000, 28.5, maybe even lower, but let's see about that. The S&P 500 closed higher yesterday, 2.3%, just above the minor resistance at 53.15. But the big test will be this area here, where we have this gap. As you can see, it jumped below it here the other day, and it needs to close. I mean, it needs to close above 5,409, well, 5,410 to close this gap, really. Then when we are in a different situation, then we are back in bullish territory. On Nasdaq, almost the same picture, really. Has this gap area here, 18,768. We are not back in bullish. We are, I would say, back in neutral if we get up there. Still negative sentiment, no divergence, I believe. So we have, it will be a struggle to get up there. I'm not saying we won't get it, but let's see. It depends what happens in Japan, I think, and also with a few other things. Anyway, if it starts taking out 17,800 again, then expect lower levels below 17,000. On the European market, just very quickly, they are a little bit quiet today. They bounced more than 38.2 retracement, could get up to 61.8 at 47.42, where we have the 200 moving average giving a little bit of resistance, and then we can see it sliding lower. Negative sentiment, no divergence, indicating we could see lower levels. There doesn't have to be a divergence on the RSI for the market to turn around, especially to the downside, because stocks are biased bullish. So there's a little different energy there than on the upside. DAX Also fairly strong bounce, and needs to close this gap, meaning it needs to close above 18,084 for a further upside potential for establishing a bullish trend, I would say. So this gap is key. 17,918. Look out for what will happen right there. If it starts low below 17,500, then I expect the market to push lower. 892.5 on the Amsterdam index, but then we have some strong overhead resistance further up. That could be a bit of a struggle. We have the moving average coming down, kind of putting a lid on it. It is a strong bounce, but I think we will see it. I don't think we will see it above 900. I will actually move that one down there and say, okay, 900, can it actually break that? And then we have the gap up to the next level right there that also needs to be close to 907. So it'll be a bit of a struggle. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but keep an eye on these resistant levels there. On the CAC index, let's see, there we are. On the CAC index, 7,300 testing. I think we could break higher here, but it will still be a struggle. Then we have strong resistance at 74.64, and we are in a downtrend, so it's basically just a corrective downtrend despite seeing divergence there. We are really in a bearish trend. The Swiss market 11,875.5, currently above. If it can close back above, well, then there's potential to up to around 12,000. If it can close back above the cloud, we are back in bullish trend. Okay, we are on to the FX euro dollar. Not much to report really. We are in a corrective phase that could take it down to around 108.65, maybe all the way down to 108.25. We are in a bullish trend, however, but corrective phase. There's a little bit of divergence on the RSI. You can see this level here is lower than this value here, but this close here was higher than this. So I think we will be caught range bound in this area here between 108.50 and 109 level, 109.80 for quite some time. Euro sterling rejected at strong resistance here at 86.10, 86.20. Expect a correction down to around 85.35. Cable, sterling dollar, bouncing from the it actually did close below 127, and that was a key support, but then it formed this doji morning pattern here, which is a bottom and reversal pattern. So let's see if we can get back above the 38.2 retracement, and it didn't close below the cloud. So we are still in a bullish mode, so to speak, but a massive correction that could actually have taken it lower. It did bounce off the 200 moving average. We're actually in negative sentiment, so if it takes out once again 127, then expect a push down to 126 level. Dollar yen fairly quiet today. There is still room up to the 38.2 retracement, 149.42, but it seems to be a struggle getting up there. We can also see the RSI. It's not even close to 40, but there is room up to there. If it starts sliding lower here later today and also in next week, then expect lower levels on dollar yen. So still under pressure, and it will still be in a downtrend even if it breaks above 38.2 retracement at 149.42. Same picture on euro yen, really, 162.44. Could get up to there. I actually did expect it. It's not under the picture here, but if it starts flying lower, then it will continue or resume its downtrend. But it did actually form a bottom, kind of a bottom reversal. I mean, this spike down here is a little bit unusual when you see a doji morning formation as a bottom reversal, but there should be room up to that, possibly up to the 200 moving average. So a little bit up in the air. I would be cautious with doing anything here, at least with the pressure that is on euro yen. The Aussie yen actually did touch within a pip or two this morning, the 38.2 retracement at 97.5. Will it break up above that level, or will it slide back lower? That will be the key question here the next couple of days. Sterling yen still also room up to 38.2 at 190.81. If it can't get up there and it starts sliding lower, well, then expect even lower levels. And still, even if it gets up there, then we are still in a downtrend. It could resume its downtrend. It really needs to establish a bullish trend, and it hasn't done that just yet. The Aussie dollar, I think it can bounce all the way up to 61.8 at 66.25, where we have the 55 moving coming down, but there is some resistance here. We have the 100 moving average, we have the 200 moving average kind of putting a lid on it here, and the 21 coming down, also giving it a little bit of pressure. And I don't think we will see the RSI closing above 60, but if it does, well, then I expect it to break higher above the cloud and also back to bullish mode. But for now, we're still in a bearish corrective phase. Dollar Canada, 61.8 retracement, and the 55 moving average seems to give a little bit of a support. The RSI is still above 40. I think we will see a bounce in later today maybe, and also going into next week. Well, we'll move back above 137.85. EURUSD bounce to, depending on where you measure from, you're above a 38.2 retracement of the entire downtrend there, and currently at the 61.8 of the last leg down. I think we could see a push up to around the 92.25 level, or to 95.25 or 95.5 in this region here. I still think we could see that, and then I think we could see the downtrend resuming, with all the moving averages pointing lower, kind of indicating we are likely to push lower in the coming week or so. Dollar Swiss currently at the 38.2 retracement. If it's being rejected, well, then it will slide back lower, and we could see another push towards previous lows here. Can it break higher? Well, then it could break all the way up to 88 and 15, but that will be a bit of a struggle, really, and I have a hard time seeing that. But if it gets back above 87, well, then it's definitely in the cards. And finally, on the dollar index, strong bounce, but only to around 50% of this downtrend here, and I think it will resume downtrend fairly soon. There's still room up to the 61.8 at 103.57, but then I think we will see it sliding lower. Keep an eye on what the RSI will do. Will it break back above 40 or being rejected? Gold, I think we will see a test of 24.34 resistance here later today. If it does close above, well, then expect new all-time highs. That will at least be in the cards, I would say. Let's zoom in a little bit. 23.53 key support that should be observed. On the silver, formed this bullish engulfing here, taking out the past 2 days of bearish trading. Fairly unusual to see in the spot market, but it does happen, and could have a little bit to do also with the spread. But still, seems like we have a bottom reversal pattern in place. We could see it pushing higher towards the 29.45. That is key to break above to establish a bullish trend. We are still in a negative sentiment. There's no divergence, indicating it is not unlikely we could see a spike down to 26 level, but then it would cancel this bullish engulfing pattern there. Copper, divergence on the RSI indicating downtrend exhaustion, and we could see a bounce, but it needs to get back above 422.35 for establishing a bullish trend. It could be a bit of struggle. There will be some resistance here around 410, 413, where we have a lot of activity going on, and the 200 moving average will also kind of giving a little bit of resistance. But if we can get copper back above 422.35 and back above 60 threshold, well, then there could be further upside potential. On the energy market, we have a fairly strong bounce in the WTI. Crude oil to around the 76 level. We are in a downtrend. I think it will resume downtrend. We could maybe push a little bit higher to 77.5, but then I think it will slide lower. Brent crude oil currently testing minor resistance here at 79.32. Could bounce a little bit higher, but we are in a downtrend, and I think it will resume downtrend in fairly shortly. Let's have a look at the Dutch gas market. That is, see, we had this massive collapse here after the so-called energy crisis here a couple of years ago, but we have nat gas, and now has built up a the Dutch natural gas building up a bullish trend, has taken out key resistance here at 38.84, and there is potential higher towards the 45 level, maybe even higher in the coming times, or on the short to medium term. There actually room up to around 54 level. Finally, on the US Treasury, it did bounce and spiked just a tad above the 4%, as we can see here yesterday, 4.015, and then it got sent back down a little bit. There is room up to the 61.8 retracement at 4.05. So let's see if we can get it. Then I think we'll slide lower here in the going into next week. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Talk to you again Monday. Have a trading.